Give it just a second, and we are going to start our presentation today with some presentations about our sales tax, and then we're going to talk about if you receive a letter from the department, what to do, and then we're going to close out with some information about our commercial activity tax and our employer withholding tax. So at this point, I am going to turn it over to our sales tax individuals, Stacy Harper and Nyla Kidd. Hi Nyla, how are you? Stacy, how are you?
Hi Teresa, good morning.
Good morning. So are you ready?
Sure.
All right, well, I will turn it over to both of you and I will see you at the end.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thanks.
Good morning and welcome to the Ohio Department of Taxation's Virtual Tax Academy's presentation for sales and use tax. My name is Stacy Harper and I am a tax examiner specialist in the Business Tax Division for sales and use tax.
And my name is Nyla Kidd. I am a tax examiner in the Business Tax Division for sales and use tax. Thank you for joining us.
So we wanted to provide this disclosure slide just to inform everyone that today's session is going to include a high overview of general information, and any information should not be considered legal or tax advice. Any changes made by the legislature may change the accuracy of the content. Also, please keep in mind that facts and circumstances applicable to your situation may impact any answer provided herein. As always, we have a fantastic group of examiners ready and willing to assist you during our business hours at the number you see here on the screen. So today we will be providing an overview of sales and use tax, including what is sales and use tax and what is a taxable sale of goods or services. We will also be discussing what types of sales and use tax licenses and accounts Ohio offers, how to register for one, methods for filing the sales and use tax returns, and how to cancel your license or account when it is time to do so. So let's get started on our sales and use tax overview. Sales tax was enacted and became effective January 1st, 1935, and can be referenced in Ohio Revised Code Chapter 5739. The companion use tax was enacted and became effective January 1st, 1936, and can be referenced in Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 5741. Ohio Administrative Code 5703-9 provides additional information for both sales and use tax. The Ohio Revised Code and the Ohio Administrative Code can be accessed via tax.ohio.gov under Resources for Professionals, and then select Laws, Rules, and Rulings, or you may go directly to codes.ohio.gov. So what is sales tax? Sales tax is a trust tax. Vendors who sell tangible personal property or provide certain services must collect the sales tax and remit it to the Ohio Department of Taxation. A trust tax means the consumer has entrusted this tax to retailers with the understanding that it will be reported and paid to the Ohio Department of Taxation in a timely manner. The vendor collects the tax from the consumer and remits it to the Ohio Department of Taxation when filing their sales tax return. Sales or use tax is imposed on the storage, use, or other consumption of tangible personal property, sometimes called TPP, and taxable services in Ohio. A consumer means any person who has purchased tangible personal property or has been provided a service for storage, use, or other consumption or benefit in this state. A consumer may also be referred to as the end user because they consume the tangible personal property or they receive the benefits from the taxable services.
So what is tangible personal property, Stacy?
Well, Ohio Revised Code 5739.01 WW states tangible personal property means personal property that can be seen, weighed, measured, felt, or touched, or that is in any manner perceptible to the senses.
So clothing or furniture, those things are tangible personal property.
Yes, that is correct. Clothing and furniture would definitely be items that would be considered tangible personal property. Tangible personal property also includes things like motor vehicles, electricity, water, gas, steam, and pre-written computer software. All sales of tangible personal property are taxable unless there is a specific exception or exemption. An exception is a situation that does not follow a rule. In this case, the rule that selling tangible personal property is taxable. The only exception is purchasing for resale. For example, David is buying clothing to resell to customers at his store. David should not pay sales tax when he purchases the clothing, as he will collect sales tax from the consumer, his customers. An exemption is permission to not follow a rule. Some of the more common examples of exemptions that are found in Ohio Revised Code 5739.02b are using tangible personal property in manufacturing or in mining or in agriculture, selling food for consumption off premises, or selling to a 501c3 organization or an organization operated exclusively for charitable purposes in this state. When claiming either an exception or an exemption, the purchaser must provide a fully completed sales tax exemption certificate called the STEC-B, which can be found on tax.ohio.gov. So what constitutes a fully completed exemption certificate? The exemption certificate must contain the vendor or seller's name, the reason for the claimed exception or exemption, the purchaser's name and the business address, the purchaser's type of business, and if the certificate is given in hard copy, the signature of the purchaser with their job title and date signed. And the last line is for a vendor's license number, if any.
If any. So if I am a vendor and receive an exemption certificate with no vendor's license number on it, that's okay.
Yes, that is correct. An Ohio tax account number is not required to claim exemption or exception. If all sales are exempt, we would not require the seller to get a license or an account. Examples of this would be a wholesaler or a business that maybe only sells to government agencies or nonprofits. Like Joe, who sells choir robes only to schools and churches. He would not need a vendor's license as all of his sales would be to exempt customers. Now, if Joe in the future decides to sell to any customers that would not be exempt, he would then need to get and apply for a vendor's license or a sales tax account and collect the sales tax from those customers that would not be exempt. If a vendor obtains a fully completed exemption certificate, the vendor is relieved of liability for collecting sales tax on that sale. The final part of our sales and use tax overview will be calculating the taxable price. So price is the base that is used to calculate the tax. Price includes any expense to the vendor in order to complete the sale, including cost of goods sold, cost of materials, labor and installation fees, delivery charges, which includes shipping and handling, manufacturer rebates, and any other expense of the vendor. Credit card service fees would be included as part of the price. Price does not include discounts that are not reimbursed by a third party, late payment fees, interest, financing, and carrying charges from credit extended on the sale of tangible personal property or services if the amount is separately stated on the invoice, bill of sale, or similar document given to the purchaser, and also legally imposed taxes that are separately stated on the invoice. So I have a couple examples. Kroger offers a 75-cent manager's discount on Secret deodorant. This discount will reduce the price base for calculating sales tax. However, if you have a 75-cent manufacturer's coupon from Procter & Gamble for Secret deodorant, Kroger will be reimbursed by Procter & Gamble for the value of the coupon. Therefore, the value of the coupon does not reduce the price base for calculating sales tax. Another example would be Johnny's Ford of Columbus offers a $500 discount on the purchase of a new vehicle. This discount will reduce the price base for calculating sales tax since it is directly from Johnny's Ford of Columbus. There is also an available Ford manufacturer's rebate of $1,500 on the purchase of a new vehicle. The value of this rebate does not reduce the price base for calculating sales tax since Johnny's Ford will be reimbursed this amount. On tax.ohio.gov, you will find information release ST 2003-07 titled Changes to the Definition of Price. The information release contains further explanation of what is included in the price or base amount on which sales tax should be collected. So the next section we're going to talk about is sales tax rates. Sales tax rates are a combination of the state sales tax rate, which is currently 5.75%, and the county sales tax rate, which does vary by county. By law, Ohio's counties and transit authorities may only enact sales tax rate changes effective at the start of any calendar quarter. The tax rates and rate changes are available on tax.ohio.gov under Resources for Businesses. Click on Ohio Business Taxes and then Sales and Use Tax. And then there will be a link on that sales and use tax page for the tax rates and rate changes. We do always recommend that you check this page for rate changes every quarter, just to make sure that there hasn't been any rate changes for the county that you are selling in or counties that maybe you're performing taxable services in.
Now, before we move on to taxable services, we did want to briefly talk about construction contracts. Earlier, we defined the consumer as being the one who has purchased tangible personal property or has been provided a service for storage, use, or other consumption or benefit in this state, and that the consumer is the end user and pays the sales tax. However, per the Ohio Revised Code 5739.01B5, a construction contract pursuant to which tangible personal property is or is to be incorporated into a structure or improvement on and becoming a part of real property is not a sale of such tangible personal property. Rather, the construction contractor is the consumer of all such tangible personal property, like materials such as the roofing tiles, paint, or drywall, and the tools and equipment that are purchased in order to complete that contracting job. If you would like more information on construction contracts, please see the Ohio Administrative Code 5703-9-14. Once again, the Ohio Revised Code and the Ohio Administrative Code can be found on tax.ohio.gov or codes.ohio.gov. So next up, we will be reviewing some of our taxable services.
So the complete list of taxable services can be found in Ohio Revised Code 5739.01B3. Some of those taxable services are the repair of tangible personal property, installation of tangible personal property into other tangible personal property, the service of washing, cleaning, waxing, polishing, or painting a motor vehicle, laundry and dry cleaning services, automatic data processing or electronic information services for use in a business, telecommunications, electronic publishing for use in a business, personal care services such as tattooing, tanning, manicures, pedicures, massages, and hair removal. However, the cutting or styling of an individual's hair is not included under this taxable service. Some other taxable services are private investigation and security services, exterminating services, landscaping and lawn care services, snow removal services, building maintenance and janitorial services, and towing a wrecked, disabled, or illegally parked motor vehicle. Now, for snow removal, that is by mechanized means only. What that means is, you have a snow thrower, snow blower, or maybe a snow plow attached to a truck. It does not mean simply taking a shovel and going out by hand and shoveling your neighbor's sidewalk or driveway. Also, for the landscaping and lawn care, the snow removal, and the building maintenance and janitorial services, there is a $5,000 minimum sales provision.
Stacey, can we mention some of the information releases available on tax.ohio.gov?
Sure. Some of our more popular ones are the building maintenance and janitorial services, which includes some really great frequently asked questions. The landscaping, lawn care services, and snow removal, which is all one information release. And it includes a really handy chart that lists lots of activities that a landscaper may perform and advises if it is included under this taxable services. The personal care services information release not only gives examples of what is taxable under this service, but also lists some examples of things that we might think are personal care services, but are not taxable under this service. So some honorable mentions in the list of the information releases are the towing service information release, the exterminating service information release, and the laundry and dry cleaning service information release. We do also want to point out a service is only taxable if it is on the list of taxable services. The list, of course, can be found in Ohio Revised Code 5739.01B3, but it can also be found on our website at tax.ohio.gov on the frequently asked questions under the category of applying the tax, question number 3. So our next section will feature licensing, registering, and filing.
So our first type of vendor's license that we're going to talk about today is the county vendor's license. The county vendor's license is for Ohio businesses with a fixed location. These businesses charge the sales tax at the rate of the county in which the business is located. For example, Sarah, who lives in Franklin County, goes to her local hardware store and purchases items she needs for her home. The hardware store charges Sarah 7.5% sales tax on her purchase, which is the Franklin County sales tax rate. The county vendor's license is also for Ohio businesses that are making online sales. These businesses are considered to have a fixed location and use the tax rate of the county where the order is received to calculate the sales tax. So Sarah, from our previous example, when Sarah receives an order for her online sales that she has for her jewelry, she's receiving that order in Franklin County, and she charges her Ohio customers 7.5%, the Franklin County sales tax rate. Now, when Sarah receives an order from an out-of-state customer, she does not charge Ohio sales tax. We would recommend to Sarah that she reach out to the other states that she is selling to for their sales tax guidelines. Now, finally, the county vendor's license is for Ohio businesses that are providing a taxable service to Ohio consumers. Not all businesses providing one of the services from the list of taxable services will have a storefront, but those are considered to operate from a hub from where they are dispatched. Unlike the other two types of businesses, this business charges the tax rate of the county where the service is performed. So Sarah, whom we've met, is married to Sam. Sam has a lawn care service. He has many jobs in Franklin County, where his hub is located, and for which he charges the Franklin County sales tax rate. He often also has jobs in counties that border Franklin County. One of his jobs is in Pickaway County to the south. Sam charges his Pickaway County customer at the Pickaway County sales tax rate of 7.25%. Just a quick note here about casual sales, for example, garage sales. A vendor's license is not required if those sales do not exceed 6 days in any calendar year. If you will be registering for a county vendor's license, there is a one-time $25 registration fee. The preferred and recommended method of registration is through the Ohio Business Gateway at gateway.ohio.gov. You can walk into your local county auditor's office to register for a county vendor's license, or you can send in the paper application, the ST1, mailing that application into the address on that application.
If you choose to apply by mail, please allow 6 weeks for processing time. So for businesses that have multiple Ohio locations, we do offer a cumulative account. So to qualify for the cumulative account, you must have at least 2 county vendor's licenses, which means 2 business locations in Ohio. Once the cumulative account is set up, you would just file 1 sales tax return per month, reporting all of your sales for all locations, all of your Ohio locations on that 1 sales tax return, instead of filing a return for each location every month. All future county vendor's license registrations will then automatically link to your cumulative account. So what this means is, for example, let's say you start out and you have 3 locations. So you have 3 county vendor's licenses. We set up the cumulative account for you and you file your 1 return every month, including the sales for all 3 locations. However, in the future, you open up 2 more locations. All you would need to do is apply for the county vendor's license for each of those 2 new locations, and those county vendor's licenses will automatically attach to your cumulative account without any further action on your part. There is no application fee or registration fee for this type of account. And currently the only method to register for a cumulative account is the ST26 paper application, which you would then fill out and mail in to the address on the form. If you do send in the ST26, Please continue to file under the individual county licenses until you receive your registration confirmation letter in the mail.
So the next vendor's license is the transient vendor's license. Now, this license is for Ohio businesses that are leasing titled motor vehicles, titled watercraft, or titled outboard motors to Ohio consumers. As an example of what tax rate is used by these businesses, here is Steve, who leases a motor vehicle from a dealership in Cuyahoga County, which has a tax rate of 8%. Steve resides in Lorain County, which has a tax rate of 6.5%. The dealership will use the tax rate of the county in which Steve resides, the Lorain County 6.5%, to calculate the sales tax on the price of the lease. For specific questions regarding leasing of titled motor vehicles, watercraft, or outboard motors, please contact the Ohio Department of Taxation. There are 3 other types of businesses that would register for a transient vendor's license. These would be Ohio businesses transporting tangible personal property to temporary Ohio locations to make retail sales, out-of-state sellers transporting tangible personal property to temporary Ohio locations to make retail sales, and businesses that are making sales of tangible personal property from vending machines. These 3 types of businesses use the tax rate of the county in which the sale is made to calculate the sales tax. So remember Sarah, who has the county vendor's license for her online jewelry sales? Well, she's decided to take her jewelry on the road. She is going to register for a transient vendor's license, which allows her to sell in any of the 88 counties in Ohio. But her first venue will be a huge craft show on the Ohio-Pennsylvania border up in Mahoning County. She will use the Mahoning County sales tax rate of 7.5% to calculate the sales tax on her jewelry sales. If you will be registering for a transient vendor's license, just as for the county vendor's license, there is a one-time $25 registration fee. Also, the recommended and preferred method of registration is the Ohio Business Gateway at gateway.ohio.gov. Unlike for the county vendor's license, you cannot walk into your local county auditor's office and register for a transient vendor's license. However, you can send in the paper application, the ST1T, mailing it in to the mailing address on the application.
So please note, if you choose to mail the paper application for a county vendor's license or a transient vendor's license, you must remember to include the check or money order for the $25 registration fee. So we're going to move away from sales tax to its companion use tax for just a little bit. When we look at out-of-state sellers in a moment, we will find that not all out-of-state businesses will be registered and collecting sales tax on Ohio sales. Those that are not required to register and have not registered for the convenience of their customers would come into play here. When an Ohio business purchases items such as office equipment, computers, or other office supplies from an out-of-state seller, and that out-of-state seller does not collect sales tax, the consumer use tax account is used to pay that use tax. The use tax is also paid when items have been purchased under the exception of purchased for resale, but then they are not actually resold. So for example, Joe purchases t-shirts to resell to customers at his store. He decides to have his employees wear some of those shirts for uniform shirts. Since no sales tax was originally paid on those shirts at the time of purchase, because Joe claimed the exception for resale, Joe would now owe use tax on those shirts that he has pulled from his inventory. Now, there is no application or registration fee for this type of account, and the recommended method to register is, of course, on the Ohio Business Gateway system at gateway.ohio.gov. Or you can send in the paper application, which is the UT 1008, and you would mail that in to the address on the form.
So now we'll go back to sales tax and the out-of-state seller's account. This type of account is for businesses that are located outside of Ohio who make retail sales of property or services for storage, use, or consumption in Ohio, but have no physical presence in Ohio. Now, a quick note here though, if an out-of-state seller also has a location in Ohio, they do have to register for a county vendor's license for that location. As for the tax rate, out-of-state sellers will charge the sales tax rate of the county in which the Ohio customer receives the tangible personal property, or the tax rate of the county in which the service or taxable service provided to the Ohio customer is performed. There is a threshold or nexus standard for out-of-state sellers to be required to register for this account. On August 1st, 2019, Ohio did adopt a nexus standard, which states that if an out-of-state business in the current or previous calendar year has gross receipts into Ohio exceeding $100,000 or has 200 or more separate transactions into Ohio, they must register with Ohio, collect, and remit the sales tax. Out-of-state sellers can choose to register with Ohio to collect and remit the sales tax for the convenience of their Ohio customers. So those customers would not have to pay the use tax on their purchases, like we talked about when we looked at the consumer use tax a few moments ago. As far as registering for an out-of-state seller's account, there is no application fee. The preferred method and recommended method, once again, is through the Ohio Business Gateway at gateway.ohio.gov, or the out-of-state seller can send in the paper application UT 1000 and mail it in to the address listed on the application. Closely related to the out-of-state seller's account is the marketplace facilitator account. A marketplace facilitator is an entity or an affiliate of an entity that owns, operates, or controls a marketplace, either physical or electronic, and facilitates the sales on that marketplace. There are entities that only provide advertising services, and these entities or businesses are not marketplace facilitators. Now, we realize that most of you in the audience today will never need to register as a marketplace facilitator. However, we would like to take this opportunity to point out that if you are only selling on a marketplace facilitator's platform that collects and remits the sales tax on your sales, you would not need an Ohio vendor's license. Now, as in the case for out-of-state sellers, on August 1st, 2019, Ohio did adopt the Nexus standard. It states that if a marketplace facilitator in the current or previous calendar year has aggregate gross receipts into Ohio exceeding $100,000, including sales made on behalf of one or more marketplace sellers, or has an aggregate of 200 or more separate transactions into Ohio, including sales made on behalf of one or more marketplace sellers, they must register with Ohio, collect, and remit the sales tax. The marketplace facilitator must include transactions made on its own behalf and transactions facilitated on behalf of their marketplace sellers when making the determination as to whether the economic thresholds apply and Nexus standard has been met. For more details on Nexus, you will find an information release on that subject on the same list of information releases on tax.ohio.gov that we previously talked about. The preferred method of registration, once again, is the Ohio Business Gateway. A marketplace facilitator registers the same way as the out-of-state seller using the seller's registration, but checking the box on the registration to indicate that they are a marketplace facilitator. Also, same as the out-of-state seller, a marketplace facilitator may send in the UT 1000 paper application, checking the box indicating that they are a marketplace facilitator. So at this point, we have covered the various types of sales and use tax licenses and accounts that Ohio offers, and that how and where the sale is made or the service is performed determines the sales tax rate to charge. But if you would like more information on what the tax rate to use is, please refer to our sourcing information release available on our website, tax.ohio.gov.
And just as a reminder, if you are applying for any sales or use tax accounts by mail, please allow up to 6 weeks for processing. One last thing to note about registrations, you will always receive a registration confirmation letter, either electronically if you are using the Ohio Business Gateway to register, or by mail for all other methods. and that registration confirmation letter will provide the start date and filing frequency of the account. So we will now talk about the sales and use tax filing methods. All sales and use tax returns are required to be filed electronically. We would like to emphasize that returns are required to be filed from the start date of the account, even if there are no sales to report. So for example, if a new business owner applies for a vendor's license with a start date of April 1st, 2024, but doesn't actually start making any taxable sales until July 15th of 2024, sales tax returns reporting $0 will need to be filed for the months of April, May, and June. The recommended filing option is the Ohio Business Gateway system, of course, at gateway.ohio.gov, which offers filing for both sales tax returns, which are the UST ones, and use tax returns, which are the UUT ones. We also offer an automated telefile option. However, this option is only available for vendors with a county vendor's license who are only reporting one county, which is the county of their license. To use this telefile option, you will call 1-800-697-0440 and follow the prompts. This system will require you to enter your 2-digit taxpayer identification number, or TIN, which can be found on your registration confirmation letter. Now, please remember that the telefile system is an automated system. You will not be able to speak to a live agent. So we're going to go over the filing frequencies and due dates for sales and use tax. So we'll first talk about sales tax. They file the UST. If they're a monthly filer, their sales tax returns would be due the 23rd of the following month. Excuse me. So for example, if you are filing the April 2024 sales tax return, it would be due by May 23rd of 2024. The other sales tax filing frequency that is offered is the semi-annual filing frequency. The filing period, we really just take the year and split it in half. So that's going to be January 1st through June 30th. Excuse me. And that return is always due by July 23rd. And then for the second half of the year, which is July 1st through December 31st, that return is always due by January 23rd of the following year. For use tax, monthly filers, basically the same as sales tax. The return would be due the 23rd day of the following month. However, the other filing frequency that is offered for use tax is a quarterly filing frequency. So for the first quarter, which is January 1st through March 31st, that return is due by April 23rd. The second quarter, which is April 1st through June 30th, is due by July 23rd. The third quarter, which is July 1st through September 30th, is always due by October 23rd, and the fourth quarter, which is October 1st through December 31st, is always due by the following January 23rd.
Just a brief mention here before we move on. If the 23rd falls on a weekend or a holiday, the due date will be the next business day. And we actually have an example with this month's sales tax return, the return for May 2024. The sales tax return for May 2024, which is normally due on June 23rd, will be due on Monday, June 24th this year, since the 23rd falls on a Sunday.
Thank you, Nyla. So as an incentive for sales tax only, if the return is filed and paid timely, a discount of 0.75% will be granted. Now, this discount is automatically calculated when using the Ohio Business Gateway system to file your returns, or if you are using the telefile system. Our last topic is going to be canceling a vendor's license or tax account. So some of the reasons that you may need to cancel your account are you have simply closed your business, or maybe you have merged into another company or sold your business. You are no longer making taxable sales or providing a taxable service. Your business has moved to a new location in a new county. So how will you cancel your vendor's license or sales tax account when it is time to do so? You may submit the business account update form, or the BAUF. The business account update form can be located on tax.ohio.gov. And then you're going to click on forms in the upper right-hand corner. And when it asks you to put in the name of the form, you would just simply type in BAUF. And that form can be submitted using one of the methods that's listed on the bottom of the form. Another method to cancel your accounts would be to simply cancel your account when you are filing your last sales or use tax return. On the UST1 or the UUT1 transaction in the Ohio Business Gateway, you may check the cancel account box on step 1, and the account will be canceled automatically as of the last day of the reporting period being filed. If you are filing via telefile, there is an option to cancel the vendor's license once you have completed the filing of your final return. You may also cancel your account by giving us a call. An examiner will be able to cancel the vendor's license or account for an owner or officer of the company during the phone call if the caller can provide the required information. So please note, if you have a vendor's license with a liquor permit, the vendor's license cannot be canceled or closed until the liquor permit has been transferred. Please contact the Ohio Division of Liquor Control for information on transferring or canceling the liquor permit. So I am now going to turn it back over to Nyla, who will take us to the end of our presentation today.
Thank you, Stacy. So we did want to include a bonus topic for you today, which is, has something changed? What if you do not need to cancel your account, but something has changed? What if you've had a change in your mailing address? Or you've moved your business location somewhere within the same county? Or maybe you have changed the legal name of your business. Well, if your mailing address changes, even if your business location address remains the same, please contact the Ohio Department of Taxation and update your mailing address. If you have a county vendor's license and your business address changes, but it is within the same county, contact the Ohio Department of Taxation so we can transfer the license to your new business location address and send you an updated copy of your vendor's license. If you have changed the legal name of your business, please make sure to update it with the Ohio Secretary of State first, and then contact the Ohio Department of Taxation. But please keep in mind, if you have a liquor permit, the legal name on your vendor's license or account must match the name on your liquor permit. Now, please note that although you are able to make some changes to an address or a business name in your Ohio Business Gateway account, doing so does not make the update with the Ohio Department of Taxation. So how would you make these changes? On the business account update form, which we have already mentioned is used for canceling accounts, there is a section to update a mailing address and a section for transferring a county vendor's license to a new address within the same county. The business account update form can also be used to update the legal name of a business. The charter documents from the Secretary of State showing the legal name change should also be sent along with the business account update form requesting the update. The business account update form, once again, is located on tax.ohio.gov and can be submitted using one of the methods listed on the bottom of the form. The second option to make the changes is to call the Ohio Department of Taxation. Our fantastic examiners are available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Updates can be made over the phone for an owner or officer of the company as long as they can provide the required information about the account. And finally, there is an option on tax.ohio.gov. So if you go to the website, go to Contact Us in the upper right-hand corner, then go to Email Us on the upper left-hand side, you can send in a request for updates via a secure email. Well, it does look like we've covered all of the topics on our presentation agenda, plus one. Please don't forget to follow us on social media. Important reminders and updates will be shared on our social media pages. We do have a presence on LinkedIn, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, and YouTube. If you have not signed up for tax alerts, we highly recommend doing so by going to tax.ohio.gov, then going to the Quick Access section at the bottom of any page and clicking on Tax Alerts. And as always, if you have any questions, please contact us. The number to call is 888-405-4039. So this does conclude the sales and use tax portion of the presentations today. So Teresa, we will now turn it back over to you.
Thank you both. We had really great questions that came through from the audience, so I know they were paying attention and you piqued their interest, so appreciate both of you joining us today. And at this point, we are going to have our first break, and we will return at 9:45 with how to respond to notices. So again, Nyla, Stacy, thank you so much. And we will be back. We will turn off our cameras and our audio, and we will return at 9:45.